Welcome to the Tending Our Nets podcast, where we believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. We encourage everyone to learn more, and we work to equip believers to share their faith with everyone they know.
Welcome to the Tending Our Nets podcast. My name is Joshua Sherman, and I am your host here. We started a new series a few episodes ago talking about the gospel of God's victory, the gospel of Jesus becoming king. We've looked at the Old Testament context and then the Second Temple period context, and now I want to dive a little bit more in detail within the Second Temple period and look at the New Testament context for the word euangelion, the gospel, the good news. One of the things that we noticed last time when we talked about Alexander the Great is that there was competition. There were lots of people that were declaring their own good news. One of those people that you see in the New Testament era is Caesar. Julius Caesar had his own gospel. You see, this was about good news of victory in battle. He would proclaim that he had been victorious in expanding the empire and the culture of Rome. He was the one that reigned over this entire empire, over what many people would see as the known world. Caesar's gospel, he would go about and proclaim, and you would see this actually when Caesar was traveling and when he would be entering into a city. He would have messengers go ahead, and they would proclaim that he was coming. They would proclaim the euangelion, the good news of Julius Caesar. People would come out to meet him, and then they would all go into the city together in a grand procession, celebrating this good news that Caesar was bringing. It wasn't just Julius Caesar. There were other Caesars that did this. There were other generals that did this. But one of the things we recognize when we realize this is that when Jesus is announced on the cross as the King of Kings, when the good news about Jesus, the euangelion about Jesus, is pronounced, these things pit Jesus directly in competition with Caesar. That is part of the context of the gospel. And so what we see actually later on in the Bible, in the New Testament, in the book of Acts, in Acts chapter 17, there's a group of Jews, of religious leaders and people that are trying to, basically missionaries, that want to get Paul in trouble because they believe he is misleading the people. One of the things that they do is they complain to the government in that area, to the governor or the proconsul or whoever it was, and they say that Christians, that Paul and the people that he is teaching are all defying Caesar's decrees, that they are all saying that there is another king, one called Jesus. So this competition between Jesus, the King of Kings, and Caesar, who saw himself as a god, is part of the context of the word gospel, euangelion. This is part of what we see of the context when we see people proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ. I think that helps us to understand a bit more about what we see then in the early church, and we'll talk about that next time. Thank you for joining me. Please like, subscribe, write reviews, share this with your friends so that we can help to equip Christians to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with everyone they know. God bless. You've been listening to the Tending Our Nets podcast. If you like what you hear, check us out at the Raven Creek Social Club
and by searching for us on social media via Tending Our Nets.
Raise us up to bear your